Hi friends, Dini here. Finally! Okay, so in this video, we are going to discuss the fifth and final step in making a paper flower wall. So this is honestly more than 1 year in the making. I'm so glad that we'll be able to finally finish this. From step number 1, you got all the information you need for your project. Step number 2, you determined or you decided the ingredients or the flowers and the colors of the flowers, the size of the flowers. Everything with regards to the ingredients of the flowers that you will need in your project. And then step number 3, you have laid them out in the space that you will be using. And then step number 4, we have made the cut tally where we delve more or dove in the components or the number of components that we will be needing, which now you know how many sheets of paper you need for your project. Now we dive in step number 5 where we do the work. So coming fresh from step number 4, we know that we will be needing at least 4 packs of 25 pieces each pack of the basil aloe paper, and then I will be needing like 1 pack of 250 sheets per pack each of the lavender, the purple, and the blue cardstock, so on and so forth. So basically, you know by now how many packs of paper you need. So basically, order the materials that you will be needing, because if you don't have an Amazon Prime or if you're not gonna pay for premium shipping, then probably you will be waiting for at least a week. So I guess like do your due diligence in terms of your schedule and order the materials beforehand. And once you get your paper, this is where you decide whether you're going to cut by hand or use your cutting machine. So believe me or not, sometimes it is easier to cut by hand. So I will be discussing more in detail about my experience on whether cut by hand or cut with a cutting machine in another video. But the gist of it is, if your flower or the pieces or the templates of your flower is large and also like has smooth edges, then honestly it's easier to cut by hand. For example, my roses, the one with the smooth edges, I always do cut them by hand, the 18-inch and the 15-inch one, just because with those factors it's more efficient to cut by hand rather than by a cutting machine. But if you're gonna use, like for example, our Anastasia flower or the Dahlia Cafe au lait, then definitely it is easier if you're gonna use a cutting machine. So depending on those factors, decide what process you're gonna use to cut the petals for your project. And if you're going to go to the cutting machine route, then this would be a good time to either clean your mats or to buy another one, which is of course in the step of like planning or like pre-planning before you dive into your production line or mode. So when you finally get the paper, or in my case, when I finally get the paper, so what I do is I divide them per flower, per component. That's also where the cut tally will be really helpful. Actually, the best example here, a simpler example here will be my roses, which is just composed of 3 flowers. That's petal 1, 2, 3. So for example, I'm going to make, let's say, 5 pieces of 18-inch in red, let's say that. So with petal 1, so that's 10 pieces each, I will be needing 50 pieces. So I usually segregate like 50 pieces and then label them. This is for 18-inch petal 1. And then the second component, petal 2, is 8 pieces per flower. So that will be 40 pieces. So I will segregate like 40 pieces, label them 18-inch petal 2. And then for the last one, petal 3, I do need 8 pieces per flower. So that's another 40 pieces of petal 3. For all of the flower, for all of the sizes, I do get and then like separate it per component, per size, things like that. So again, the cut tally or whatever you want to call it will be your friend here. Yes, this is basically an in-house mass production process. So I honestly dedicate like a whole day or even like 2 or 3 days depending on the components. If it was a dahlia, then probably like a 3-day process to cut them. But if it's gonna be like roses, then probably just a day to cut everything. Then once you've done cutting all of your components, then it's time to assemble your flowers. So this is really a fun time. I usually watch my K-dramas while I'm assembling because it's like you don't have the noise of the cutting machines. It's like you're not moving from this to that. You know, I just assemble my flowers, and this is a lovely time because I can catch up on my K-dramas when I do assemble my flowers. And once you are done making all of your flowers, I bet that your work area will be overloaded with flowers. This would be a good time to put them or like lay them out in the space. So you can go and jump ahead on my previous video where I discuss how I do make the backdrop part or like the stand part. Or let's just continue discussing that. So you have 2 options for, you know, setting up your the backdrop. So if you have a good car or like a large car, then you can basically just put everything or lay out your flowers and attach them permanently in your panels, whatever panels you will use. And probably like if it's 8x8, then you can use like 4x4, you know, 4x4 size each panel. You can directly attach your flowers there, lay them out, follow your layout from step number 3, and then again attach them permanently. You can use a hot glue or whatever you want to use. But if you're like me who doesn't have a big car, you can use a VELCRO industrial strength adhesive fastener and then place it at the back, and then I do like attach them based on my layout. Of course, disclaimer here, as I've mentioned from step number 3, it doesn't really like go 100% how you planned it. Sometimes, of course, you need to move them like from here to there, but you know, having a layout will still be helpful. And once I've placed everything up in my pristine well, honestly it's one of my favorite steps, or like one of my favorite part, when I have like a very pristine insulation board. Yeah, so I place my flowers there, and once I've placed them up, I do, since it's removable, the VELCRO is removable, I do remove them and I do label them. So honestly, when you're like installing on site, it's like a puzzle piece. You're matching the flowers in their label. So I do label them, and then I do store the flowers per quadrant. So I discussed this more in one of the videos that I made before, where I like organize them by quadrant, the flowers, and then I do keep the flowers per box depending on their quadrant. That makes it easy when installing on site. And yeah, so once you are done with that, you're ready to install. So I know that my process is very tedious, but then it's like, it's the price that I have to pay when I don't have a big car. But yeah, it works. It's up to you. If you do decided to invest in large transportation, good for you. But you will always have this option if you do not have one. That's basically it. Oh my gosh, I'm finally done with the series. Do let me know if you have any questions, whatever you have or whatever question you have. So do leave it in the comment. I am starting to release a bundle of paper flowers based on the paper flowers that I've made. So recently we have released the all paper dahlia flower template bundle, which is basically all of the flowers that we have used for the paper dahlia flower wall. And eventually I will be releasing more, so do watch out for that. But again, thank you so much. I'm just so happy that we're done with this series. So once more, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. And please do like this video, follow and subscribe to our channel. We are on Instagram, TikTok as well. We don't have an X or Twitter, but we do have Pinterest, Facebook, of course. Yeah, so, and of course we're here in YouTube. So again, follow, subscribe, all of the things. So again, thank you so much. Bye.